I am Diego Espinosa, and I am going to talk about the third unit of IEL 1 social movements. What I am what I am going to talk about is my learning process and what I have learned. Well, I am going to start by talking about what I think now about forming a big community. It it is in terms of maybe forming a nation, forming a state, or forming just a movement. I am going to stand on what process that the government is not always the most effective choice, because the best government is the one which governs least. I think that democracy, as we see in a government, is not always democracy, because when we want a better government than what we already have, we must to participate as citizens. We have to take the choice. That reminds me of Leviathan by Thomas Hobbes, that says that we as citizens, we signed a contract, and we belong to the big person that is the state, who takes the decisions by instead of us. But I think that the best way to move or to improve as a country is by the means of the participative democracy, because we all have to concern about what we are doing or what is happening about our country. We don't have, or we shouldn't have, to give the total control of our country to one person or organization. Second, by in second place, I can talk about what I see as Chileans as a community, because I think that we are a community because we share the same problems, the same goals, the same rules in a society, and that makes us a community of people who shares a lot of things. Maybe we 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 belong to a culture that is completely heterogenic, and maybe we don't always share the same things, but we as a community can recognize ourselves as a community itself, because when one thing happens to one person in our community, we all as Chilean concerned. Maybe we can see that the case of the 33 miners, or the 2010 earthquake, that we concerned about our brother or community mate was happening in two. And by last but not the least, I can say that I learned a lot more from the Negro struggle, because I that is my favorite matter in terms of what we are learning, because I have studied a lot and I listen to Negro musicians, and maybe white musicians too, but maybe the importance of that white musicians is that they talk about the Negro struggle. I mean, Bob Dylan had a ballad of Emmett Till, and maybe two, and he has two, also a song about Harry Carroll, who was a black woman who was killed by a crane, a white man, because she got delayed in one whiskey who, or I don't remember what drink was, but she got delayed in the delivering of a drink. I also think that we as community need to fight for our goals. I mean, in terms of what choices we have to to maybe be stronger than the government, and we as Chileans have to improve as a community, as a nation, because we don't need or we don't have to be always under the foot of the government, and like the Negros did, have a dream and maybe take what we want and start to do something with that, because if we stay and we don't group as maybe as a group, we don't stick together, we won't get anything, and we will stay under the foot of the people who have the power. And maybe we still belong to a community, but by we will belong to a silent community. And when we are a silent community, we are not looking for a goal. And I think that the first step to become a community is the search for a common goal.